Making Bangjja Yugi starts here, with molten bronze, and after hundreds of hammer strikes, it's transformed into some of Korea's most expensive tableware. Artisans work with fires over 1,300 degrees Celsius, carefully reheating the metal between rounds of hammering. Too hot and it will melt. Too cold and it'll shatter. No molds are used in this process, only skill and an experienced eye. When it's done, this rice pot can sell locally for over $350. So what makes Bangjja Yugi so labor-intensive? And is that why it's so expensive? Bangjja Yugi refers to Korean hand-forged bronzeware. It can take many forms, from pots to gongs. While Bangjja Yugi production has largely been modernized, Lee Bong-ju is one of few Yugi masters who continue to produce certain pieces using traditional methods. Bong-ju, who is 96, has been making traditional Korean bronzeware for over 70 years.
저는 제가 선택해서 한 거 아니고 저거 그냥 지나는 팔자가.
In 1983, the South Korean government declared him a living national treasure. A single spoon, fully handcrafted by Bong-ju's team, costs $70. A set of 7 bowls costs over $1,800. Bong-ju starts off by measuring the ingredients. The perfect bronze alloy for Bangjja Yugi is in the details. An exact ratio of 78% copper and 22% tin. The metals are heated to over 1,300 degrees Celsius in order to melt and boil. Although the alloy will melt at a lower temperature, Bong-ju says that heating it to 1,300 degrees ensures it can stretch without cracking once cooled.
그 합금에 어긋나게 되면은 늘어나지 않고 또 늘어난다 하더라도 이것에 하게 되면 손가락처럼 구멍이 뻥뻥 나기 때문에 그건 아주 안 되는 거죠. 이게 아주 완전히 안 됩니다. 그건.
They then pour the molten alloy into a heated stone with a round cutout. Once the alloy cools, it becomes a bronze plate with a rounded bottom, referred to as a baduk. Bong-ju's team heats the cooled baduks again, so they can hammer them without risking breakage. One person cannot hammer the bronze alone, as they won't be able to move fast enough before the metal cools. Working quickly in a circle, artisans strike the red-hot baduk, stretching it until it's the desired size. Each careful blow of the hammer plays an essential role in shaping valuable yugi. This also means one misplaced hit could cause irreparable damage.
해달들이 이제 너무 한 놈이 잘못하게 해주고 깨져서 불락 나잖아요.
And it's not just the hammering that can ruin the baduk. Every step of the traditional process is manual, down to fanning the fire. Fanners push and pull the bellows, creating wind to keep the fire going. They depend on experience to determine how hot the fire is, and if they allow it to get too hot, the bronze melts. This particular fanner is still in training.
녹았네. 근데 요거는 지금 해는 과정에서 풀무하는 사람이 잘못하게 해주고 너무 과열돼서 거기 녹아내리면 불나해요.
Any defects and the bronze can't be sold. It has to be taken out of circulation, remelted, and processed all over again. After another round of hammering, Bong-ju cuts the baduk into a circle to the desired diameter.
이게 원대장의 숙련된 원대장 일이야. 사람이 이걸 얼마나 몇 센치에 따게 되면 원대장 그 자가 필요 없어요.
The baduk is then heated back up to working temperature, and the artisans begin another cycle of carefully hammering and shaping. Artisans stack the baduks on top of each other to shape multiple pieces simultaneously. This is efficient, but it's also safer than working them one at a time. Stacked bronze plates don't cool as quickly, so they're less likely to break. And broken metal doesn't just ruin the product, it can also be dangerous.
또 제 한쪽에 눈을 본래 좋았는데 1983년도에 일하다스리 그 파편이 뛰어가게 해주고 눈을 하나 제거했어요. 이게 가장 큰 사고고 그 외에는 뭐 그냥 서로 그 원칙적 것만 지키게 되면은 위험한 건 별로 없고.
Still, only a month later, Bangjja went back to work. Once the pot takes form, Bangjja can separate the layers, revealing multiple roughly shaped pots. His team then refines their shapes individually. The pot is repeatedly shaped, trimmed, and shaped again, all freehand, under the skilled and watchful eye of Master Bangjja. Bronzeworking arrived in Korea around 1300 BC. The art form peaked starting in the 9th century AD when it began to be exported to neighbouring countries like China and Japan. The demand for Bangjja Yugi fluctuated over time, but in the 1980s, producers saw interest in the bronzeware pick up.
우리 그 선조들이 밥그릇은 항상 밥 먹을 때 항상 녹그릇으로 밥을 먹고 숟가락, 젓가락 80년대 후반부터는 다시 이제 그걸 찾기 시작하더라고요. 그래서 1990년대, 2000년대 들어서부터 굉장히 붐이 많이 일어나는데.
That's Bangjja's son. He's been making Bangjja Yugi for 40 years. He says Bangjja is still popular in Korea. Part of its appeal is its antibacterial and antiseptic properties, particularly against bacteria like E. coli. But this demand created the necessity to modernize, to supply more Bangjja Yugi while cutting down production costs.
근데 그럼에도 불구하고 그 유기의 그 전통미를 찾으려면 그 좀 약간 투박하고 그 투박함을 하려면 이제 그 우리들이 이제 만들다 보면 망시자국이 나오고 이제 그런 걸 또 좋아하시는 분들이 있어요. 이제 그런 분들은 손맛을 좋아하니까 그런 분들은 또 이제 저를 찾는 거고.
Back at the workshop, Bangjja's team is almost done making a rice pot. Once the pot is in its near final shape, they quench it by dunking it in water. This removes some of the oxidized layers and prepares the pot for the last stage, shaving off the surface to reveal the soft-toned bronze underneath.
아까 보셨던 사람이 발로 돌려주면서 깐 걸 가지려고, 우리 영어로 가지려고 합니다. 껍데기 벗겨버리는 거. 아마 지금도 아마 5년 내지 10년, 20년 되지 않고 가질 때는 변화를 못 올라가요.
Due to the high demand for quality Bangjja and the need to sustain his business, Bangjja too has mechanized some of the process. Even then, it requires highly skilled labour, as many stages are still performed by hand. But for Bangjja, it's not about how much Bangjja Yugi he can make, or how much he can sell it for.
기초적인 것, 전통적인 기법을 보존하려면 안 되는 그 가치를 우리가 다시 또 느끼게 됩니다. 가업으로 대대손손이 이걸 해나갈 방침을 세우고 있습니다. 또 원대장이 대략 꿈도 못 꾸고 살았었는데 보통 사감 팔자라고 그러잖아요. 어떻게 내 인생이 살아온 게 방자 유기만 할 수 있게끔 그게 살아왔는데 중간에